King. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Man, it's so good to see your beautiful faces. God is a good God. Yes, He is. Some snacks. Is there some? He want us. Can you look over there? Get a bag of potato chips. You want a snack? What you want? You're welcome. So I want to welcome each of you individually and all of you collectively to the 8th annual Dr. Nathaniel Granger Jr. celebration of Black history. This year's theme is Black Resistance. This is the national theme for 2023 Black history. African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms, especially the racial terrorism of lynching, racial pogroms, the police killings since our arrival upon these shores. These efforts have been to advocate for a dignified, self-determined life in a just democratic society in the United States and beyond the United States political jurisdiction. By resisting, Black people have achieved triumphs, successes, and progress as seen in the end of chattel slavery, dismantling of Jim Crow and Jane Crow, segregation in the South, increased political representation at all levels of government, as witnessed by Senator Exum being here and Representative Regina English. So happy to see you all here. Amen. Yes. Desegregation of educational institutions, the passage of Civil Rights Act 1964, the opening of the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History in DC, and increased diverse representation of Black experiences in media, Black resistance strategies have served as a model for every other social movement in this country. Thus, the legacy and importance of these actions cannot be understated. When you guys came in, you noticed to your left the barber shop. Why is the barber shop so important in Black culture? Since the turn of the 19th century, beauty salons and barber shops have served as a special place among African Americans. Yeah. They have been places not only to get haircut services, but locations where Black people could be vulnerable and talk about issues of importance in the community. Black resistance. As we pray, I'm going to pray as the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King would have prayed. Let us assume an attitude of prayer. Almighty God, Lord, creator of the ends of the universe, we realize, Father, that in many places in our community, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. We realize that there are yet some places where Blacks live on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. And so we pray that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. Father, you have given us this hope, and this is the faith that we will be able to continue to make Colorado Springs an example for all humanity. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. We pray, Almighty God, that this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. These prayers we ask in the matchless name of Jesus. Amen. Amen, amen. Again, we thank you for being here. And with no further ado, I would like to introduce to some of you and present to others the mistress of our ceremonies, none other than the incomparable, lovely Rebel. Let's give it up for the lovely Rebel.
Anybody know how to beatbox?
Black.
Okay, that's my
Black,
song.
black, black. Black on black, black. Yeah. Hey. Okay, black, 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 black on black, black, my thoughts so black, 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 I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking that black on black is black.
Rims on these black wheels in this black whip with this black bitch. So black on black on black on black on
black, 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 black on black, black, my thoughts so black, 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 I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking all black, everything is black.
Rims
What's going on, beautiful black people? That's good, DJ. I said, what's going on, beautiful black people and friends of our community? Look, we black folks over here. Y'all know how to clap your hands. We have an amazing show lined up for you guys tonight. So I want to hear some song singing. I want to hear some clapping. I want to hear some amen. And if y'all would move a little closer, there's a lot of open seats if you want to.
Niggas in the back like, oh word, diamonds all black like, look what you.
So as I was saying, we have a mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. So I am the lovely rebel. I am proud to preside as the mistress of ceremony for the 8th annual celebration of Black History, named for our beloved pastor, Nathaniel Granger Jr. So who am I? For those of you who know me, you know that I'm a poet. Most people meet me in the capacity of a poet. Otherwise, I'm a recluse. Spoken word specifically. I'm also a local business owner, so I get businesses together. I work in consulting. I build websites, et cetera, et cetera. I am a lover of Black history, and I love Black people. You always find me in a picture online with my fist in the air. I love everybody, but I love Black people, and I advocate for them every day in every way that I can. So we have some singers for you guys. We have some dancers. We have an amazing panel of Black authors and Black speakers doing amazing Black things in our community today. One of them is my mama. Sorry. Sorry, I have to shout my mom up. They're authors, and you're going to get a chance to hear from them momentarily. But before we get into the ceremony, I thought we'd open with an inspirational poem. Is that okay? It's not mine. It's actually by my favorite poet, who is Maya Angelou. She wrote a poem called Still I Rise. Anybody familiar? Really? But you know what? For this ceremony, I'm going to call it We Rise. Because even though she was talking about herself, she was talking about us. And it goes like this. You may write us down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trot us in the very dirt, but still, like dust, we'll rise. I need some crowd participation. Let me start over. So when I do like this, I want y'all to say, we rise. All right, I'm going to start over. Let me back up. No, just kidding. You may write us down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trot us in the very dirt, but still, like dust, we'll rise. Does our sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause we walk like we've got oil wells pumping in our living room? Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still we'll rise. Did you want to see us broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by our soulful cries? Does our haughtiness offend you? Oh, don't you take it awful hard. 'Cause we laugh like we've got gold mines digging in our own backyard. See, you may shoot us with your words. You may cut us with your eyes. You may kill us with your hatefulness, but still, like air, we'll rise. Does our sexiness offend you? Does it come as a surprise that we dance like we've got diamonds at the meeting of our thighs? Up from the huts of history's shame, we rise. Out from a past that's rooted in pain, we rise. We are a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, we bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, we rise. Into a daybreak that is wondrously clear, we rise. Bringing the gifts that our ancestors gave. We are the dream and the hope of the slave. Let me rewind that part real quick. Bringing the gifts that our ancestors gave. We are the dream and the hope of the slave. So we rise. We rise. we rise. Let's give it up for the late, great Maya Angelou, y'all. Thank you so much. Those are some powerful words. That's one of the first, she wrote that poem 4 years before I was born. And when I was 15, I stumbled on it in a box of books. And that's how I know I wanted to be a poet. I'll do an original piece for you guys in the second act. But for now, we are going to open with the Black National Anthem. Tiff Scott, where you at? Tiff Scott, are you here? Hi, Tiff Scott. Hey, beautiful black lady. Y'all give it up for Tiff Scott, who's going to lead us in the Black National Anthem. Thank you so much.
Hi, guys. Please excuse my 1-year-old. He doesn't have home training yet. It's fine. Very honored. Okay. Now he's leaving. All right. I decided to do this one a cappella because they didn't have any music back in the day when they sang this song, so just didn't make any sense to have accompaniment. And you guys are more than welcome to sing along with me. And yeah, okay. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Sorry. On day begun, let us rise on till victory is won. You guys are so kind. Oh, y'all don't want me to?
Let's give it up one more time for Tiff Scott, y'all. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I've been instructed to move the microphone back, so I'm going to do that. Although you guys know I like an intimate setting, and I'm not scared, so that's why I came closer. I also forgot to mention that we're going to do some trivia. Pastor Granger, where you at? Well, our prizes, we have some amazing prizes for those who can answer some questions about Black history. Shall we do one now, or do y'all want to wait until a little later? You can't use a lifeline. So if I see anyone using their phones, you will not get one of these amazing prizes. No, I'm just kidding. You can use your phone. Sure. Pastor Granger, come on up and tell us what we got for prizes.
We have African American.
Look, I'm going to be Vanna White.
Famous African American history cards. They're
Yes.
regular playing cards. You can play tongue, blackjack, pity pat, whatever your game is. But it's black people on the card.
Did he say pity pat?
Also, too, we have this amazing computer bag, tote bag. Just carry this on the plane and represent your Afrocentrism.
Look, I want that. That's totally my taste.
And then we have 2 T-shirts. Black. What does that say? Black history is American history.
That's right.
Yeah.
Black history is world history. If it wasn't for us, there would be no modernization. There would be no civilization. Don't get me to preaching. I know my history. I'm going to go ahead and do a trivia question right now. Any brave souls in the audience? I came up with these questions myself. So, can anyone tell me who was Dr. Justina Ford? I wish we had some Jeopardy music. DJ? Do 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 do. Dr. Justina Ford. Anybody? Yes, you can use your phones. Dr. Justina Ford. I tried to do questions that were relative to Colorado, so that's a hint. Yes, she did. That's okay. You know, I think we should give her a prize. Yes, she was. That's okay. I'm gonna still give you some playing cards, sister. Thank you for trying. Do y'all want to know who Dr. Justina Ford is? Say, oh yeah. Dr. Justina Ford was Colorado's first black woman physician who specialized in gynecology, obstetrics, and pediatrics. Even though she graduated from Herring Medical College in 1899, they wouldn't let her be a doctor. That was in the era of Jim Crow. So she took a job in a hospital in Alabama as what was essentially a CNA back then, even though she was a full-blown doctor. So she said, you know what? I'm going to go to Denver and see if they'll let me be a doctor. So she moves to Denver in 1901, goes down to the medical examiner's office and fills out her application, takes her $5, that's all it costs back then, to pay her application fee. And the medical examiner says to her, I'm sorry, I feel bad about taking your money because you got 2 strikes against you. What were those strikes, y'all? She was black and she was a woman. But what he didn't know about Dr. Justina Ford was she wasn't finna take no for an answer. So she bought a 2-story brick house, which still exists today in Denver's 5 Points. They turned it into a museum. I've been there. It's amazing. You should go. And turned it into a private practice. Look, had the whole gynecological chair set up in her dining room. It's still there to this day. Dr. Justina Ford delivered over 7,000 babies for all races of people. That's what she's most known for, because she believed that we all were brothers in this life. They said she treated close to 70,000 people during her time in this world. And people, they were poor, so they often paid her in livestock, like chickens and cabbages. Once a year for 33 years, she wrote the Denver Medical Board asking for licensure and admittance to the society. Year after year, she was denied until finally in 1949, when she told them, look, I done delivered 7,000 babies. Can I be down? They were like, okay. But 2 years later, she died at the age of 81. Dr. Justina Ford, remember her name, y'all. All right, so coming up is my brother in poetry, y'all. We go back. I met the Midnight Poets when I moved back from Atlanta about 12 years ago. He's deep. He's alluring. I enjoy him because he's not afraid to talk about the hard topics. So please put your hands together for the Midnight Poet. Y'all keep it going for the Midnight Poet. That's my boy. That's my dog. I love the Midnight Poets. You know what? I forgot to show you guys a picture of Justina Ford. We don't have a projector, so we got to make it do what it do. I prepared this for you guys. Feel free to pass it around if you like. Who is Dr. Justina Ford, y'all? The first black gynecologist doctor in Colorado. First black licensed female doctor in Colorado. Okay, now we're moving on to the panel segment of our program. Y'all want another trivia question, or shall we just introduce the first panelist? Okay, we'll do some trivia. I'm going to do an easy one, okay? Y'all ready? Why and from who did we get the Statue of Liberty? Beautiful young lady in the green jacket. Please stand. Yes, we did. Why? Very good. Let's give the young lady a big hand. Come up to the table and choose, or go ahead, Dr. Granger. That is amazing. I love to see the youth educated about American history, which is also Black history. I'm going to add a few more details to that. So after slavery ended in 1865, we did get the statue as a gift from the French. It was to honor the alliance between America and France during the American Revolution. They presented the statue to recognize America as a champion of liberty and to encourage the French to support the same ideals. But there's a fun fact about the Statue of Liberty. Did you know the original statue was that of a Black woman? And did you know that its original color was bronze? Does anybody know why it turned green? Oxidation, which is rust after being exposed to the elements. I have the original sketches of the Statue of Liberty if anybody wants to take a glance. But for now, we're going to get started with our panelist segment, which I've been very excited about. I don't know if you remember, but Dr. Melinda Joy. Okay, so is Janella Crawford in the house? Kingsley? Yeah, so she's not here, so. You guys, Jeopardy music, okay? Okay, I'm back. Applause, applause. Okay, so yes, so 2-3 years ago I was driving for Lyft, right? And I pick up a beautiful Black woman, and I start venting about working in corporate America. Oh, I can't stand it no more. That's why I'm driving for Lyft. I told my mom I'm quitting my job, and my mom was like, well, how you gonna pay your bills? Look, Mom, I don't know. I just know I can't do this anymore, and I will supplement my income by driving for Lyft. And so Dr. Joy, I don't know if you remember this, asked me what some of the problems were. And I said, you know, I keep getting pulled in the HR office, and I got white women telling me things like, well, you didn't speak to so-and-so in the hall today, and you made them feel really uncomfortable. So that type of stuff. And Dr. Joy said to me, you're not stupid. You speak well, you're very articulate, they're intimidated. Keep doing you, it's going to get better. I don't know if you remember that day. I took her to her condo in Bygart, it had beautiful mountainous views. And I always remember that, because sometimes you need some sort of validation in the moment, and she provided that for me. So guys, please put your hand together for Dr. Melinda Joy.
And what I remember the most is this beautiful woman who was already soaring. And the reality is that sometimes we feel like we're flying, but we're uncomfortable in places because we need to be. We need to be uncomfortable so we can move into what it is we're supposed to do. Right? I heard this quote, and the quote says, there's no comfort when we are in a place of growth. And there would never be any growth if we choose to remain in a place of comfort. Can I say that again? I'm going to say it again. There is no comfort, you all, when we are in a place of growth. And there is no growth if we choose to remain in a place of comfort. And so we should not fear discomfort. We should just know what it means is that there's something else that we need to be moving towards. And so in my few minutes here, after my beautiful sister here, I have a book. It's on the author panel here. But I want to share. I was just sharing with a group of people today before I got here about it's not just what you accomplish, it's what you have to overcome to get to what you've accomplished. And that I thought about the book. So Dr. Melinda Joy, yes, I have attained a PhD. But I tell people, they say, what is the PhD for you? Please help deliver me. That's what it stands for. Because I say that because I was in a major accident here in the city right at the onset of starting that degree. Couldn't walk for 8 months. Lost a job. I was homeless when I started my manuscript on a book. And I want to share that because we think so many times that we have to be in this place, in order to accomplish anything. And we're looking at our ancestors. We're looking here, we said Black History Month, and what did our ancestors go through? I mean, you all know this here. They didn't have no church house. They had a praise house. They had a little bitty house with no lights in it. You know that, Pastor Granger. Little bitty old house, and they went up in there. And so what do we have that's already in our hands? And so as I got a contract, I didn't even seek it out. I just started writing the message. And people have asked me, so what do I need to do to get a book published? I said, live your message and then write it. Live it and then write it. Don't write it because you have a contract, because you have a publisher. Write it because you want your message to get out there. All right? Write it because you've lived something that you feel the world needs to hear. I tell people, never critique a pain that you ain't gone through. Never critique an experience that you have not lived. And so I wrote a book. It's called The Colors of Culture, the value, worth, and dignity of all people. I was homeless through a situation that occurred. And I was sleeping in my car in a Walmart parking lot on Powers and Palmer Park with all my PhDs tucked in my trunk, my master's degree, all of that stuff. Had no worth for myself. I told someone, I said, I ain't getting ready to publish no book about the value, worth, and dignity. I can't get a manicure, a pedicure. I need a cure. Can I say it? Come on, y'all. And someone said to me, how can you write a message that you don't feel that you can live your own self? Once you really believe that message, that your worth, Miss Melinda Joy, is not tied to what you can produce, what you have accomplished, how people see you, how they don't see you, then you can write the message of that book. And so I tell people and I tell authors, here it is, just going on in a direction where you feel God is leading you. Because we talk about flying so much. I'm like, quit flying and just go ahead and soar. How about that? Because see, the thing about flying is that we just in this kind of status quo and we do okay. But birds fly. And you all know what happens when a storm comes when birds fly. They all sit up there on the rail together. Can't go no further. But birds that are eagles, they learn how to go past adversity. They learn how to go past the criticism. The same people that applaud you will be the same people who criticize you. It's all the same. My mother told me, and I'm going to sit down. My mother told me, she was a maid. My mother was a maid for 40 years. And I grew up in inner city Chicago. And when I was 14, who? See, look at that. Come on now. And when I was 14 years old, as I was in our back alley of Cabrini Green, wall-to-wall rats, people talking about you never amount to nothing, Miss Melinda Joy, all that kind of stuff. Who's your daddy? I said, I don't know, I got one, I'm here. But in that alley, I started encouraging kids who were little kids. Come on back here, y'all. What you want to be when you grow up? I was 14. They go, we don't know, lady. You old. We 8 years old. We don't know what we. I said, you ain't getting no candy then. until you tell me that you want to do something beyond this housing project. And one of the things that I realized is that your pain has a mission attached to it. You ain't just going through anything to go through. Let your pain go where it needs to go. So my mama told me, I said, Mama, you ever want to do anything else besides clean toilets and make up beds? 40 years, you're a maid. She's brilliant. She spoke 3 languages. She said, I am doing something different, but you can't realize it because I have a uniform on. She said, I'm a value keeper. I said, what is that? She said, I've learned how to value all people. I've learned that when I have my maid uniform on and people can't look at me in the eye, I've learned that look at them, I just clean their toilet, I just starch their shirt, and I am doing what I want to do. And she said, you, Miss Melinda Joy, you need to gather that. When the applause stopped for you, when the people you thought were with you aren't there, you need to be okay in who you are. And so the book that I wrote, there's a South African term called Ubuntu. And Ubuntu means that I am because we are. Yes, I can never fully be who I am until I am in community with you. So I want to just leave that with you. My beautiful sister here, I was like, this here's the next president of the United States or something. Girl, I'm going to be waving. It's who you are. And the thing of it is, think about this. My last thing is no pain is ever wasted. It's not wasted. Thank you.
I feel so inspired. I love seeing Black professionals that have beat the odds. How powerful is that story? Sleeping in her car with a PhD. But she's not there anymore. And I especially want our Black youth to see that it's possible to transcend your circumstance. If I may ask a couple of questions. So where is the book available? Barnes & Noble, y'all. Amazon. And it's called Ubuntu. The Colors of Culture. So on like Google, The Colors of Culture by Dr. Melinda Joy. And do you have some copies in the back for us? Okay. During our meet and greet, which is coming up soon, please see Dr. Melinda Joy. Okay. Look, I'm selecting the panelists at random. They don't know who I'm calling next, but it's going to be my mom. I am proud to present to you guys, soon to be Dr. Stuckey. She wrote a book called Restoring the Southpaw. When I read it, y'all, I can't even describe the range of emotions. I cannot believe what my mom overcame before I was born, after we were born. I'm just so proud of her. She has a testimony. She's currently a licensed therapy candidate, with licensed professional candidate. Like I keep getting the acronyms mixed up. Can we just say you a licensed therapist? You can't. Okay, candidate. All right, sorry, Mom. Sorry. She has her private practice, Lakeside Counseling Services. It's important for me to relay that to you all. If you're looking for a therapist, and I'm a strong advocate of therapy, there are Black therapists who are practicing in Colorado Springs today. Please put your hands together to welcome my mom, Miss Jacqueline Stuckey. Hold on, let me help her.
Hello. First, let me say that I acknowledge the Most High, who is the creator and ruler of this world. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and what? There is none like him. And I only stand here today before you because it was by God's grace and his mercy that brought me here and that kept me through all my trials and tribulations. So I wanted to acknowledge God first, because without him, I have no being. Okay? With that being said, Are there any left-handed people in the audience tonight? Left, okay, lefty over there, lefty over there. Any other left-handed? Hey, lefty in the back. All right. Y'all doggone right-handed people, y'all think y'all bad, don't you? No lefties on the panel? All right. That's all right, because the few left-handed people here, you know what that means? We're just special. We're creative, we're special, we're bright, we're talented, we're generous. We can keep it going, right? Okay. Now, when I was writing, I have to say that I borrow one of my daughter, the Lovely Rebel's mantra, and that is, I don't write pretty, I write life. We all know that life can be beautiful and wonderful and prosperous, right? But sometimes life can also be, ooh, you're talking about some of the trials and tribulations, right? So because I say, and by the way, I am a reality therapist. That is my therapeutic orientation. That is what guides my practice. And as a reality therapist, what I do for my patients, clients, is I illuminate choices. If you're not happy with what's going on in your life, here I am to say, hey, you can do this, 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 and this. But trust and believe, I'm going to keep it real with you all the time. So, because I don't write pretty, and sometimes life can be ugly and downright mean, it is my sincerest hope that you will not recoil if you hear a few little words that may not set too well with you. Is that all right? Okay. So let me ask you, how y'all doing? You sure? All right, I'm going to ask again. How y'all doing? Okay. So those of us who have BFFs, you know, spouses, family members, friends, acquaintances, members, friends in the church, when you ask them how you're doing, do you mean it? Okay. If they ask you how you're doing, do you believe that they're sincere? Do people really want to know how you're doing? Now, this is something for you to think about. When you ask how you're doing, do you really know what goes on behind closed doors of your friends, family members, church members, acquaintances? Do you really know what's going on? And the reason why I ask that question is because the excerpt that I'm going to share with you comes from chapter 15 in my book. Okay? Excuse me. These allergies. I talk about I wanted to accomplish certain goals by a certain amount of time. And like the doctor said here, you know, we have goals and you think that you need to be in this spot, then this spot, and this spot, and have all your ducks in a row before you can go to the next level, right? Child, please, okay? It was my goal to have my doctorate by the age of 25, okay? So I was like getting my bachelor's, all of that, had plans to go get my master's. I'm like, yeah, I'm having a doctorate and I'm still working on it, okay? I'm a doctoral student now, okay? But it takes what it takes, you know what I mean? And so the reason why I said that is because in keeping alignment with the theme here, resistance, and that's actually a great one. It's right on point, that's confirmation. Because in the Black community, what I've learned over the years is that, you know, Black people, we are not readily trustworthy of other people. The narrative within our community has been, keep everything to yourself. Don't you tell nobody your business. And especially, don't you tell the white folk. And so they had good reasons, right? Because you go back 3 or 4 generations in my family, you know, then they're slaves. They had to keep the goings on secret because they couldn't trust anybody but their own. But in that narrative, there was also an error in judgment because there were some horrible things going on within the black communities, black families, there was abuse, drug abuse, alcoholism, physical abuse, sexual abuse. I come from a family of abuse. My father was physically abusive to my mother, and he was, as I call, an equal opportunity ass whooper. He had 5 daughters and 2 boys, and he whooped all of us girls just the same as he did the boys. And looking back, my father was actually, he should have been in jail. But the laws were very different back then. The police came to our house, you know, for him abusing my mom and beating her up, but they never took him to jail. And I never understood that. And so against all odds, it was, you know, the old folks would say, well, you know, they just doing the best they can. You know, just mind your parents and do what they say. So we had to endure. We were encouraged to endure the abuse, keep everything secret. Don't you tell your business. And so it was, I started drinking as a teen. You know, I became an alcoholic. I endured several abusive relationships, boyfriends. I had 2 husbands that were abusive, addicts, inmates. And one thing that I learned is that when you're in church, and this is very important, when you're sitting under the leadership of a pastor and first lady who have longevity in their marriage, married for over 50 years, you want to be like that too, right? So the message is stay in your marriage no matter what. That's the message that I saw in my parents. Woo, they had a love-hate relationship, and God knows they shouldn't have been together. But they stayed, you know? And so I wanted to be like my pastor and first lady were. But did they know what I was going through in my house? There have been times when I have talked to certain members in the church, and I would tell them, yeah, well, you know, my husband is in prison, and immediately I'd be met with, oh, well, you know, that ain't none of my business. Okay. Well, you know, I'm struggling. I'm trying to go to school, and my husband is on drugs. Oh, well, you know, that ain't none of my business. Why? Should be the business of everybody. We're supposed to be a community. And so I'm going to fast forward to, like I said, I overcame drugs and alcohol 35 years ago. I celebrate this month. My daughter, the lovely Rebel, was 5 years old when I stopped. Her brother and sister were 4 and 3. And so I just thank God that he brought me this far. So incarceration, I was married to 2 husbands who were in and out of jail. They were physically abusive to me. And I kept saying all along, every time I overcame an obstacle, I kept saying, you know what, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And when I became a senior, working on my bachelor's degree, I started writing my book. And I said, I'm going to tell my story my way because there's a message. I need to break this code of silence. I'm tired of being met with this resistance to speak out, to keep protecting the abusers. To hell with these family secrets. People need help. I need help. I'm struggling. And I'm also getting abused. So, on my second husband, okay, he was a crackhead. Now, how many of you have ever experienced a family member, friend, maybe some personal addiction? You know what I'm talking about? My husband, ex-husband, was a crackhead. I had never seen anything like it. I had never seen anything like it. Dude would run away from the house whenever the mood hit him. He'd take the car and just run away from the home. He'd be gone for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, leaving me to beg, borrow, and steal away to school and to work and to take care of the household and the children. And he would do this. I married him in 2000. By 2001, this had become a regular routine for him. And on this particular day, like I said, this comes from chapter 15 in my book, See, I was encouraged by my pastor and my first lady and other members to just pray about it. You know, just keep him lifted up. Pray about it. And I'm like, to hell with that, I want to kill this nigga. Like, who does that? You know, I'm a faithful woman. I'm good. I'm faithful. I take care of you. I take care of the house. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't run the streets. I'm faithful. And here you are acting the fool. And so one day, I didn't know what to do. So I decided, okay, let me just take the day. So I took a day for myself. And I said, I'm going to really show him what it's like. Give him a taste of his own medicine, right? So I took the day and I treated myself, you know, to a burger, to when they set up in Memorial Park for a couple of hours. And I thought and I prayed and I cried. And I thought and I prayed and I cried. What am I going to do? How the hell am I going to get out of this marriage? I don't know what to do. And so I deliberately stayed out, away from the house, until midnight. Okay? And when I finally drove home, he was there. And he was pissed. Now, you would think that all the times he done ran away from home, done walked away from jobs, you know, disappearing, no call, no nothing, that surely he would afford me the same courtesy, right? Okay. I walked through the door. He wasn't in the house when I first got there. So it was late. I just wanted to get ready for bed. I was preparing a shower, and he came bursting through the door. By the way, the name of this chapter is called Peter Pan, the Howling Man. Okay? And so he came bursting through the door. He was mad. And he just immediately demanded, where the fuck you been at, Jackie? Ooh, I almost rolled my eyes out my head. I rolled my eyes so hard, like, no, you didn't. And I just ignored him. I just kept going about my business. He was like, I'm not playing. Where was you at? And I mean, I want to know now. I was like, boy, if you don't go on somewhere. I said, none of your business. That's where I've been at. And so he said, here you are, you gone, and our son, the middle child, out here and got in trouble with his girlfriend, and we got to go down to the police station and pick them up. So now I'm alarmed. I'm like, what? What happened? What's going on? What do you mean? He was like, just come on here. Now, months earlier, he had tortured me. He kidnapped me. He tortured me on a dark road. I had to fight my way out of the car. I had to run to safety to a Pizza Hut. But that's in the book, if you're interested in reading it. So I'm like, okay. He's like, we got to go down there and get him and his girlfriend. We got to go. So I'm like, okay. So I was like, well, what happened? Tell me what happened. What did they do? You just bring your ass on. I was like, okay, fine. I'll just ask my questions when I get to the police station. So I get in the car. We buckle up. He drives down the street. He makes a left turn. Then he makes a right turn. He makes a slight left turn into an alley behind a strip mall. He pulls over to the side, and he turns off the key. And I'm like, why are you stopping? What are we doing here? Don't we got to go? It took me a minute to realize he had duped me and to get in the car so he could drive me away from the house, away from the kids, so that he can finish interrogating me and terrorize me. He pulled over, he turned the car off. He turned to me, and he said, I'm going to ask you one more time. Where was your ass at? And again, I'm just defiant as ever. None of your damn business where I been. Don't worry about it. And so, after a couple more attempts of trying to get the information from me, to no avail, he got out the car, walked around to my side of the car, opened the door, and he straddled me, sitting on my lap. And so, he started strangling me. He was like, I want to know where you went. Where the fuck was you at? So he was strangling me. Now, When I was 14 years old, my big brother taught me how to box, okay? And I knew that it was pointless in telling him to get off me and to leave me alone because he wanted to know where I was, the nerve. And so he just kept strangling me. Where was you at? And so from a slouch position in a chair, I leaned back and I just started punching upward, punching him in his face. And then he got off me. So that's when I got out of the car. I just wanted to go home. That's all I wanted to do. I was just trying to go home and have some peace. But oh no, the nerve of some narcissistic people. Like when you're drugged out, cracked out, the nerve. I was just trying to get home. So what was he doing? He abandoned the car, started walking behind me, yelling, screaming my name, Jackie, Jackie, I know your ass hear me. You better stop. I just kept walking. I didn't say anything. I just kept walking. So after I kept walking, he was like, okay, all right. I see I'm going to have to just go ahead and do your ass then. I kept walking. So he said it louder. Oh, okay. I see I'm just going to have to go ahead and do your ass then. So he started looking around on the ground for something to do me with. He found a medium-sized rock. That was his weapon of choice. And so he had it in his hand. He was like, okay, so that's the way you want it? So in that moment, I started reflecting. Oh, okay. After as good as I've been to you, all the hell you'd have put me through that I've put up with. Okay. So I turned to him and I said, oh, it's like that? I said, all right. So since you want to treat me like I'm some bitch off the street, fine. I'm going to treat you just like you some nigga off the street. And then that moment I heard my big brother's voice. His instructions came back to me. And he said, put your hands up, protect yourself at all times. And I took the boxer's stance. And with my fists as my only weapon, under the illumination of one single street light, I said to him, okay, it's going to be you and me tonight, motherfucker. I said, and I planted my feet firmly in the ground as my brother taught me. His instructions were clear. If he run up on you, stick his ass. I said, now run up on me if you want to. What happened after that? You got to read the book. Thank you so much for your time. You have been lovely. Thank you.
Y'all keep it going for my mama, Miss Lady J. Jacqueline Stuckey, y'all. You know why that story is powerful? Because it's real. The reason I do so well as a poet is because I don't talk about nothing unless it's real. And people connect to realness because we all can relate. She's not the only one who's been abused by her so-called husband or spouse or has gone through some other trauma or hurt at the hands of somebody who said that they love us. So I'm proud of her for telling that story and for reading the book because we are more similar than we are unalike. And these type of abuses thrive in secrecy, in the dark, so it's important for us to talk about them. We're getting closer to our keynote speaker, y'all. But before I bring her up, I'm going to talk about Pastor Nathaniel Granger. I met him in the capacity of a pastor some years ago. Those who know me know that I don't go to church anymore. I actually transcended church. I'm more spiritual than religious. But I call Pastor Granger my pastor because he's real. I was very impressed by him when I met him and his wife. Why is he real? There's nothing that I can't talk to him about. Nothing. He doesn't look at me crazy. When he does see me, he don't say this slick line that some pastor we used to have said, the eighth wonder of the world. We ain't seen you in a while because I ain't got to come if I don't want to. Chill out. Not Pastor Granger. I could talk to him about anything, and he loves God. It's genuine. So I'm going to let him talk a little about the book that he's written, and I hope that you guys will hear the lesson. Therapy is important. Therapy is important. It's okay to go to therapy. We got 3 Black therapists sitting right here. So I hope during the meet and greet you'll find out where they're practicing and, schedule a meeting, even if something is not readily apparent right now. Y'all, please put your hand together for Dr. Pastor Nathaniel Granger Jr.
Thank you, Lady Rebel. Wow. Wow. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to see um, um, each of you. Just glad. I'm geeked. The Black History Program, I'm going to step out here because this makes me feel like preaching, and I don't feel like preaching.
Let's give it up one more time for Dr. Nathaniel Granger, y'all. Look, I was in a trance because it was powerful, but I didn't really like that. I would have got every extremity cut off. I would have been Mrs. Kunta Kinte, trying to run away, rebelling, talking back. Is the Immaculate dance team in the house? Can we get some Jeopardy music real quick? Yeah, or real music. Pardon us, guys. We trying to work it out. We trying to make it do what it do. Okay, I have confirmed and we are ready. Are y'all ready for some praise dancing? Please put your hand together for the Immaculate Dance Team. I'm like, okay, are they coming back? That was dope. That was very nice. Okay, we're getting close to an intermission. How y'all feeling out there? Do we want another trivia question? Any brave souls out there? Okay, let's do it. It's gonna be easy. Look, I don't even need my notes. Who invented the hot comb?
That's right.
That's correct. I didn't see who said it. Yes, ma'am, you are correct. Ding, 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 ding. Madam C.J. Walker is one of my personal heroes because I call her the original black business owner. She was a millionaire by the time she died. She had 25,000 sales agents in her employ. She's a very impressive woman. Thank you very much. That's befitting you, too. Okay, guys, we're going to do a short intermission. It's not the official intermission, but I need to talk to our producer for just a moment. Is that okay? Will y'all be gracious enough to grant us a moment or two? Thank you so much.
I could spare you a couple hundred racks. How do you fit it? Danny, my your best. Refinette, the beauty of a woman. See as you find mine, the how young I could spare you a couple hundred racks. How do you fit it? Danny, my your best. Refinette, the beauty of a woman. As you find my yeah, she was 25, but she looking 21. What's my body logic? Give me my money talk. Kill it like you got a gun. Kill it like you got a gun. Stop like you on the run. Fire, baby, let it burn. You know I got the money. Oh, my boy, anybody learn. Up all night and we having fun. Baby, you tell anyone. As a penny, can you come? No, we got by your finger, by your belly button. Carolina got the board. Can I hit it? Can I beat it like a drum? The bum. Yeah, you got it like that. Like that, you got it like that. Like that, you got it like that. Yeah, you got it like that. Like that, you got it like that. Like that, you got it like that. Yeah, you got it like that. Like that, you got it like that. Like that, you got it like that. I could spare you a couple hundred racks. How do you forget Danny, my boy? Refinette, the beauty of a woman. See as you find mine, the down young girl. DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Thank you so much for your patience. We appreciate it. Next to the stage is Tiff Scott again. She's going to do a praise song for us. Tiff, are you still here? Oh, I see you. I see you. You guys, please put your hand together for Miss Tiff Scott. I'm coming, Mom.
Hi guys, I'm back again. Childless, thank God. Thank God. Okay. All right, I'm ready. Yes, you guys can clap. This is a nice song. I'm chasing after you, no matter what I have to do, 'cause I need you more and more. I'm chasing after you, no matter what I have to do, 'cause I need you, Lord, more and more. Say I'm chasing after, no matter what. God, I need you, yeah. Oh, I'm chasing after you, no matter what. God, I need you, yeah. More. Oh, say more and more. More and more. More and more. More and more. Oh, say I'm chasing after you, no matter what. God, I need you, yeah. More. Oh, say I'm chasing after you, no matter what. God, I need you, yeah, more. Oh, say more and more. That's it, more and more. More and more. More and more. Oh, I'm chasing after you. I'm praising my way through, yeah, just to be closer to you. I'm chasing after you. Praising my way through, I am. Just to be closer. Chasing after you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm chasing after you.
Mic check. I'm chasing after you. There are some powerful words. In all things, y'all, seek God. Watch your life change. All right, we're going to keep this thing rolling because next we're going to do a 7-minute intermission. Tell me, does anyone know the history of the Prince Hall Masonry? Anybody? Anybody? Well, we're about to tell you about it right now. Please give it up for Brandon James, who's going to give us an account of the Prince Hall Masonry. Brandon, coming to the stage. Keep clapping for him, y'all. Keep clapping for him. Oh, hey, Brandon. Oh, my gosh. I didn't know you were a celebrity when I was back there. Let me fix my hair. Okay, here you go.
Good evening, everyone. Before I get started, first I'd like to give glory and honor to God for bringing us all here together this evening. Also like to give a special thank you to my fellow fraternity brother, Dr. Granger, for giving me this opportunity. And before I go into Prince Hall Masonry, I would like to give just a brief of our roots of Masonry. Because in order to understand Prince Hall Masonry, you have to understand our roots overall as Masonry, and then you can get an understanding of why it may have originated in England. It relates to us as a people. So what is Freemasonry? Masonry is said to have started around the time of King Solomon, who was known for being the last king of a unified Israel and also known for his wisdom. Though no proof of this has been found to fully support that. During these times, these men were known as operative masons or stonemasons, or architects, since they have worked in stone erecting statues, pillars, buildings, and temples. Stonemasons are responsible for some of the world's greatest and most beautiful landmarks, such as the Taj Mahal, Stonehenge, the Great Wall of China, and the Egyptian pyramids. Modern Freemasonry, or otherwise known as speculative masonry, started with the opening of the United Grand Lodge of London in Westminster in 1717, before becoming known as the United Grand Lodge of England in 1813. Masonry is a unique institution that has been a major part of community life in America for over 250 years. Masonry is not only America's, but the world's largest and oldest fraternal organization, and one that continues to be an important part of many men's personal lives and growth. Masonry could be many things to many people. Many years ago in England, it was defined as a system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. It is a course of moral instruction using both allegories and symbols to teach us lessons. The legends and myth of the old stonecutters and masons, many of them involved in the building of the great cathedrals of Europe, have been woven into an interesting and effective way to portray moral truths. In Masonry, these old tools and ways of the craftsmen are used to help dramatically portray those moral truths. Another modern definition is, Freemasonry is an organized society of men, symbolically applying the principle of operative masonry and architecture to the science and art of character building. In other words, we use ageless methods and lessons to make each of us better men. Thus, Masonry, 1, has a basic philosophy of life that places the individual worth of each man high on his pedestal, and incorporates the great teachings of many ages to provide a way of individual study and thought. It has great respect for religion and promotes toleration and equal esteem for the religious opinions and beliefs of others. Provides a well-working plan for making good men even better. Is a social organization of free-thinking individuals. Has many important charitable projects. Has a rich worldwide history. Is a proven way to develop both public speaking and dramatic abilities while providing an effective avenue for developing leadership. The mission of Freemasonry as a whole is to promote a way of life that binds like-minded men in a worldwide brotherhood that transcends all religions, ethnic, cultural, social, and educational differences by teaching of our great principle and tenets. And by the outward expression of these, through its fellowship, its companion is concerned, to find ways in which to serve God, family, country, neighbors, and thyself. Simply put, the overall purpose of Masonry is to provide a way to help each member become a better person, man, father, husband, and overall member of society. We do not propose to take a bad man and make him good. Rather, our aim is to take the good man and make him better. We try to place emphasis on the individual man by 1, strengthening his character, 2, improving his moral and spiritual outlook, and 3, broadening his mental horizons. We try to impress upon the minds of our members that the principles of personal responsibility and morality, to give each member an understanding and feeling for Freemasonry's character, and to have every member put these lessons into practice in his daily life. We try to build a better world by first building better men to work in their own communities. Freemasonry believes in universal peace made possible by teaching this doctrine through the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. On March 6, 1775, Prince Hall and 14 other men, known as the Immortal 15, these men were of color, and they were made Masons in Lodge number 441 in the Irish Registry attached to the 30th British Foot Infantry at Castle William Island in Boston Harbor, Massachusetts. It marked the first time that a black man were made Masons in America. About a year later, since the conflict between England and America had commenced, the British Foot Infantry left Boston, along with this lodge, leaving Prince Hall and his associates without a lodge. Before they left, the worshipful master at that time gave them a permit to meet as a lodge and to bury their dead in manner and form. But this permit, however, did not allow them to do any Masonic work or to take in any new members. Under it, African Lodge was organized on July 3, 1776, with Prince Hall as its first head of house. It wasn't long before this lodge received an additional permit from the Provincial Grand Master to walk in procession on St. John's Day. A couple of years later, on March 2, 1784, African Lodge number 1 petitioned the Grand Lodge of England, the premier or mother Grand Lodge of the world, for a charter to organize a regular Masonic lodge with all the rights and privileges thereunto prescribed. The Grand Lodge of England issued such charter on September 29, 1784, to then change the name of African Lodge number 1 to African Lodge number 459, the first lodge of blacks in America. This lodge grew and prospered to such a degree that Prince Hall was appointed a Provincial Grand Master in 1791, and out of this grew the first black Provincial Grand Lodge. In 1797, he organized a lodge in Philadelphia and in Rhode Island. These lodges were designated to work under the charter of African Lodge number 459. A few years later, in December 1808, 1 year after his death, African Lodge in Boston and in Philadelphia, along with another lodge in Providence, met in the General Assembly of the craft and organized the very first African Grand Lodge. In 1847, out of respect for their founding father and first Grand Master, Prince Hall, they changed their name to the Prince Hall Grand Lodge, the same name that it carries today. In 1848, Union Lodge number 2, Rising Sons of St. John number 3, and Celestial Lodge number 4 became the first lodges organized under the name Prince Hall Grand Lodge. And from these beginnings, there are now some 5,000 lodges and 47 Grand Lodges who can trace their lineage to the Prince Hall Grand Lodge jurisdiction of Massachusetts. Before closing, in honor of Black History Month, I'd like to bring some attention to past and present prominent figures in the black community. Some of these you may know, some you may not know. Some of the founding members of the historical Black Greek letter organizations, or some may know as the Divine Nine, were Freemasons, such as Ezra D. Alexander and Elder Watson Diggs, founders of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. George Biddle Kelly, a founder of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Frank Coleman, Ernest Everett, and Edgar Amos Love, founders of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And Abram Langston Taylor, a founder of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Militant figures. Martin Robinson Delaney, the first black major and field grade officer in the United States Army. Delaney was born a slave to a father and free mother in Charlestown, Virginia. In February of 1865, after meeting with President Lincoln to persuade the administration to create an all-black corps led by African-American officers, Delaney was then commissioned a major in the 52nd U.S. Colored Troops Regiment. With that appointment, he became the first line officer in the United States Army history. This name may sound familiar. Daniel Chappie James, the first black four-star general in the U.S. Armed Forces. James attended the famous Tuskegee Institute and instructed African-American pilots during World War II. He flew several combat missions over the Korean War and Vietnam War, earning the Distinguished Service Medal, 2 Air Force Distinguished Service Medals, 2 Legions of Merit, 3 Distinguished Flying Crosses, a Meritorious Service Medal, and 14 Air Medals. In 1975, he became the first African American to attain the rank of the 4-star general. Sports figures. Isaiah Thomas for the Detroit Pistons, NBA Hall of Famer, 2-time NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP. Scottie Pippen, NBA Hall of Famer, 6-time NBA champion with the Chicago Bulls, and also the Olympic gold medalist. Shaquille O'Neal, NBA Hall of Famer, 4-time NBA champion with the Lakers and Heat, 3-time Finals MVP. I'd like to bring special attention to Brother O'Neal, as he is the founder of the Shepherd Claus Foundation, which has been ongoing for over 20 years, displaying one of the principal rungs of our institution, charity. This foundation started in 1997 when O'Neal received a phone call from his mother, who was in distress, asking to borrow money because she was with several hundred children who would not be able to receive anything for Christmas that year. He simply told her that he would handle it. He did so by renting 3 large moving trucks and bought out multiple toys, enabling 500 children to have toys for Christmas. And since then, Shaq and his foundation has provided countless amount of toys, clothing, books, and meals to underprivileged youth across the country. Although Brother O'Neal was not a Mason at that time, his foundation was established. He showed early on that his charitable acts was an eternal attribute that would later add to his qualifications to become a member of our order. And in closing, civil rights activists. Medgar Evers, a YMCA member, American Legion, who is mostly known for being involved with 2 high-profile Mississippi cases, including the 1955 lynching of 14-year-old Emmett Till and the 1960 conviction of Clyde Kennard, a black civil rights activist framed for crimes that he did not commit. And Booker T. Washington, the founder and first president of Tuskegee University, a key proponent of African-American businesses and one of the founders of the National Negro Business League. His base was the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute, or Normal School, which later became recognized as the Tuskegee University, an historical black college and university in Tuskegee, Alabama. I'd like to thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Brother Brandon. That's interesting. I didn't know that black men were allowed to join as early as 1776. All right, y'all ready for an intermission? Some light refreshments and stuff like that? Because it's time. Please enjoy 7 minutes of refreshments, and please don't go, because in the second act, your girl, the lovely Rebel, will be spitting one of her original pieces. We also have the phenomenal Maisha Feagin in the house, who will be giving us an account from Harriet, singing a song from Harriet. And then we have our keynote speaker sitting here patiently and lovely. DJ, go ahead and run that. You guys, please come up and help yourselves.
play me like a lotto. All you want is my dodo. I even buy you moto. Oh no, oh no. You say you wanna low, but why you leave me go? something different, oh. You say no money, no honey, oh. You should be walking beside me morning and evening. Girl, why you running? No, I don't tire for play. Things say now you go hold me down. Taking by a love silly. With you I want to settle down. You sweet me like soda. Hide me like that, cool it down. Oh my beautiful lady, why you wanting to let me down? Mama, they be mocking me. No, I guess the joke is on me. It's over, baby. It's over, baby. Oh, the way I want another with me. Every time she do call me. See, I swear, baby. Oh, I swear, baby. Now you make me loco. You play me like a loco. All you want is my dodo. I even buy you moto. If you want to go low. You say you want it low. Oh, why you leave me go? See now I am solo. It could have been something different. You say you want money, baby. Oh. We could be loving my honey, kissing and cuddling, life in Miami. Oh. We could have been something different. Oh. You say no money, no honey. Oh. You should be walking beside me morning and evening. Girl, why you running? No. All you want is my dodo. Oh, Lord. Oh, why you leave me go? See me now, I am solo. Hey, baby, still your baby. London. Another banger. Yeah. Sexy love what she need from a bad boy like me. Yeah. Sexy kiss is the thing that she ain't from my lips. Yeah. My sex herself is the only air that she breathes. And when I look into her eyes, I know that she can never get enough of me. Your body eye me like lean. When we do it, skin to skin. And as the rush they increase, I feel the drip in your V. Shorty say she feeling so. She grab my neck and she whisper, please. Shorty give me that splash from my chest to my knees. Yeah. Shorty got a lot in her bucket list. I give her number one, she need a bucket quick. And when we done, she feel me like a majesty. Grip. Round two, grip. Round three, lip. Next day we go do one for your place. Make sure that your daddy is known. Make sure that your mommy is known. Switch off that television. Netflix know what I came here for. Shawty better shut your door, cause I know one disturb me, but Shawty like it when I grill her, oh. When I finish I go. chase me. Me love my energy straight, we no chaser. All of my guys know me all about me paper. Me got me girls all around me, me no chaser. Yeah. Star boy call me number one. When me tune drop, the girls that bounce along. Me don't let nothing come between me and me paper. So when me come in, the place me on that taker. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, come closer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, come closer. Me number one in my city. Me steady representing for me city. African boy, me rep my thing. Me come clean like me coming on me video. Me come cool like a soldier. She give me tea and she pleasing my rosa. She got the keys to my Porsche and my Rover. In Miami, living la vida loca. Yeah, yeah, you got the teen, I know. You got the body, I know. You make me sing, I know. You make me sing, I know. Yeah, yeah, you got the teen, I know. You got the body, I know. You make me sing, I know. You make me sing, I know. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, come closer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, come closer.
Try to make something drama to go outside. To mix up in drama to free my mind. Jealous people around me, I need to change my life. I just turn colder every time I try. What would I do without you, my Georgie? I don't feel that way with anybody. Tell me your secrets, I'm not messy. Steady it for me, girl, hold steady. I wanna put you in my life. Your hair smell like the tropics, your body look nice. One fuck down on me, we gotta go twice. I'm here for you, just tell me what you like. I wanna put you in my life.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, come closer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, come closer.
Sacred places. I don't try, I just play my sneak it in sun of stage. Let's my you slow my time, I say time's a waste. Don't you cry, I just wipe your hands, I know what you're thinking. Silver thunder, she call me cocky man, I say my head level. Silver thunder, got me cocky man, I'm rolling through.
that you can be sick with that talk. If I'm willing, I will let you know. And if you are serious about your feelings, surely the loving will show. You want see me, just to give me. One dip at the tip, get inni. Just a minute to take the broken on me. Cause me not make your way too long. You won't let me go. I will have you wanting me more. Like on the devil in a hole. I said go bring flames to me soul. Shining.
Silver, she got me cocky. I say my love. Silver, she got me cocky. I know when it's about. So many lies, cause of them eyes. Baby, come over. I know you want me sober. I got a fire. Put a giant fire.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Thank you, DJ. Can y'all hear me out there? Are we refreshed? Everyone get to visit the ladies' room and the men's room and all of that? Thank you guys for hanging in there with us all the way up until the second act. We're going to keep this thing rolling. I'm going to cut my ad lib down so we can all get out of here. Okay, so next up we have Maisha Feagin. I'm going to tell you this story really quickly. Sorry, Pastor. So I met Maisha at a karaoke night at Club Tilt. And when they announced the song she was going to be singing, it was Jill Scott. And I remember saying, wait a minute, that's Jill, so you know you got to bring it. She basically said, look, hold my beer. And she got up on that stage. I was like, wait a minute, wait. Please put your hands together for Maisha Feagin. She can sing better than I can tell you.
Hello. Bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to enter? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it. Before the sun begins to shine, wanna start moving towards that separating line. I'm way through but it won't. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I will fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you with freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just may feel like God knows I tried. Just stars fill the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. 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 Thank you.
That's Maisha Feagin, y'all. Mic check 1, 2. That's Maisha Feagin. That's my dog. That's my girl. She has a beautiful voice, don't she? You guys, I feel like all my stuff is everywhere. Okay, we're gonna keep this thing rolling, and we have.
Excuse me, we got a phone up here.
It's mine. Okay. I just said it. I just like all my stuff is everywhere around this place. Okay, guys, we're going to listen to an account, a reenactment by Theo Mack of Louis Farrakhan. Please put your hands together, y'all. Louis, are you in the house? Oh, there you are. Hi, handsome. Come get this microphone.
Good evening. A silent crowd makes me nervous. Good evening. There we go. I get scared up here real easy. All right. All right, all right. How you guys doing? Cool. So, the theme for this year's Black History is Black resistance. And it's difficult for me to talk about Black resistance and the problems that we already face without addressing a new problem. And the new problem of the day, opinions and facts are colliding with each other. And the opinions of people are going against the facts of the world. Behind this podium this evening, you have no opinions from me, only facts. And if you have a problem differentiating the two, I have a dictionary in the back. We can talk about it when I'm done. Do I have your attention? Amen. There we go. Now we're together. O.J. Simpson was charged with murder. And in a court of law, with the jury of his peers, he was set free. A lot of folk didn't like that, so they sued him. And he lost in court because even though he was not convicted of murder, they said he's responsible. White folk are rich and powerful, the rich and powerful, because black folk worked for 310 years as chattel slaves and got not one day's pay. And I can call out the rich and powerful whose riches were gotten on our backs, but I'll save that for another time. The point is, the present generation of whites did not do this. But the present generation of whites are in their privileged position because of what a former generation of whites have done. Now the question is, are black agenda to be set before them? Because if they don't accept the responsibility to clean up this problem, you don't have a lot of time to wait 40 more years for a benevolent white president or a benevolent black president. That day is over. America is facing the judgment of God as we sit around this room. Look at the weather. Look at the world turning down on her. America is bankrupt. $13 trillion in debt. And if you figure Medicare and Medicaid, she's over $60 trillion in debt. She can never pay it. That's why she voted for $650 billion in armament, because she can't pay the debt. But she can bully those whom she's in debt to with fear over her military prowess. And I'm here to tell you that she's losing there too. And now I close. Our people need repair. Our people needed repair for 310 years of chattel slavery, where black men were forced to be made studs, to make black women pregnant, to make more slaves for the slave master. And that unhealthy attitude of misusing our women and making babies that we have no desire to take care of is still with us. Amen. Willie Lynch, who gave the ways for us to keep being divided so that they could rule us for 1,000 years. That sickness is still with us. And sure, we had a black president, but brothers said it was confusion. He confused the issue. But really, politicians today, most don't want to lose the white vote. Because if they lose the white vote, they don't care that you voted for them. If they lose the white vote, they feel that they would lose. Dear politicians, if you're watching, with love, you won't lose the white vote of those whites who understand this issue and understand that this problem needs to be solved, and we can't keep relegating it to generation after generation just because a few of us got a little money, a few of us got positions, a few of us got power and wealth, while the masses of our people are going steadily down. No one man is above the condition of his people. So to the politicians from this august body of brothers and sisters who really care, we want you to use your bully pulpit, and then after you do that, then what about us? I heard somebody say responsibility. Is it that we should let them assume responsibility to do for us? Or should we pool the knowledge that's at the table, the power that's within our community, the wealth that's within our community to change the harsh reality of black lives in America? He can create an atmosphere, but we must do the job of fulfilling the black agenda. Thank you.
That was amazing. I felt like I was looking at a young Farrakhan, y'all. I was like, well, go ahead, preacher, preach. Woo, where my fan hats? That gives me hope. This is a young man. That gives me hope for the future. All right, we're not going to delay this thing anymore. Next up, it's me, guys, the lovely rebel. I'm going to do one of my original pieces for you, and I'm going to come closer. And I always tell people, don't be nervous. I'm just a person talking to people about some things that we can hopefully relate about. All right. What is the biggest issue in the way of black unity? What do you think? The biggest issue. Right. Trust from who? Between who? Right. That's right. And that's why I wrote this poem. The thing that white supremacists fear the most is black unity, which is why they killed Martin, which is why they killed Malcolm, which is why they destroyed the Black Panther Party. They know that they cannot withstand us if we actually unify. But the biggest issue is ourselves, mistrusting ourselves, the curse of Willie Lynch and all of that. So I wrote this poem called Disbanded. And it's dedicated to the sisters on whom the shoe fits, but the brothers can relate too. What's the name of my poem, y'all? Disbanded, and it goes like this. I have grown weary of witnessing the image of me repeatedly dying in the sisters that I meet. I am disgusted that your hearts automatically anticipate some form of deceit, that often before I can even tell you who I be, you have already prejudged me. Are y'all listening? Destroying a potential alliance before we can formally meet, oblivious to the fact that your minds work systematically by procedures instilled in our ancestry, convinced that of your trust I am not worthy when you don't even know me. Though we are similar in many ways, y'all would rather compete with our varying levels of materialism, style of dress, and grade of nappy, stupidly creating hostile enemies within a minority, essentially over nothing, which makes no sense since coming together should be our number one priority. To destroy the distrusting and ignorant way of thinking most of you participate in cycling into our younger generations who give birth to babies plagued with the same way of thinking, raised devoid of spirituality, hating their own being, making it impossible for the God in them to connect with the God in me, which in turn prevents a mass uprising against the subliminal ways history has poisoned our mentality. And corporate America may as well be the big white house who within dwells our slave owner, because when we get on somebody's payroll, I see you turn on each other to prove who is most worthy or most willing to sell her sister out, to gain favor of the enemy that poison our alliance and is the cause for our camaraderie drought. Thinking throwing your people to the wolves seemingly polishes your demeanor, when in fact you're simply carrying out the duties of a 1700s overseer, which makes you nothing more than a present-day house nigga. Don't you know they laugh at Negroes who think they're in a different or better class than other niggas? You become pros at trying to be better than each other by lying, flashing, and backbiting, yet you know nothing of ISIS, Meta-Neter, nor freedom fighting. It sickens me that some of you are walking, breathing manifestations of the Willie Lynch speech, and that you have no clue from whence you came, or worse yet, what you've come to be. A shattered cistern turned distrusting zombies wandering aimlessly, who envy petty things like beauty, though we mirror each other perfectly, or status and class, even though society discredits our ass equally. But when given a bit of power, y'all start slipping and power tripping, and when tempted with self-gain, y'all break ranks and fall in, having become a people who really have turned the meek against the delusional mighty, the dark against those toned lightly, the young against those that came before thee, and a race of self-hatred and dependent psychologically upon the lives of the Westerners who told us each other we don't need, and to look into icy eyes and blonde hair for our mental feed. Your standards for judging character are pathetic at best. Hood bitches, y'all especially, are not exempt from this. If one of us is going places, you hate on our success. And if I don't smoke trees, I'm called lame and grotesque. And some of you don't respect me if on the first I don't get a check, or because I enunciate my words and speak like I have some sense. You look to where others have failed to justify failed attempts, to break free of the chains which bind your mind and time and cause reason for despicable rhymes like mine. You've forgotten how to support and uplift your fellow woman because the aspiration to love each other is foreign and uncommon. In contentment and oppression, you take ambivalent satisfaction, and laziness is taking precedence over revolutionary action. You throw shade like bullets, avoid my gaze or look right through it, or tell yourself, if she keeps staring, we gonna have problems. But bitch, we been had problems because your common sense been robbed, and when I look at you, your attitude should rather be more candid, because I stare at you because I'm drawn to the attraction of your blackness. You not only believe what you see on BET, but become the bait that reeled you in initially, catching even younger minds than yours upon your poisonous hooks, deterring them from enlightened paths and shunning books, which is where they need to look in order to uncondition their afflicted mentalities, so as not to view each other as one of the enemy, but as one with whom they need to unite to reform an army of Nefertitis, to reclaim the fame of our primitive status before this world turns to madness, leaving us disbanded. I have grown weary of witnessing the image of me repeatedly dying in the sisters that I meet. I am disgusted that your hearts automatically anticipate some form of deceit, that often before I can even tell you who I be, you have already prejudged me. I am the lovely rebel, y'all. Thank you. We almost there, sis. We almost there. Okay, guys, thank you so much. We're going to keep this thing rolling. We have a musical performance by Nina 9. Are you in the house? Don't be shy, brother. We all family up in here. But you know what? It is hard to perform for especially small audiences because it's more intimate. But like I said, I'm just a person talking to people, and you're a performer performing for people. Let's give it up for Nino 9, y'all.
Good evening, y'all. How's everybody today? I'm Nina 9, like she said. It's a pleasure to be able to perform in front of y'all tonight. I got a couple songs I'm going to try to do the best of my ability. I got a toothache. Whew. Yeah, but before I jump into this, man, I'd like to get a brief moment of silence for my brother. He passed away last week, so this is his hand sign. Can everybody do this for me, please? Gonna throw three fingers up for my bro, Michael III. Thank you, guys.
Come on, I need a hit. I need a hit, man. I need another one. She my poison.
Nina.
Well, I got that itch, I need that fix, that only one narco could Theo. No prescription for these diners, they over, they counter still gon' mix that up. Tile, inject her thoughts, I'm addicted to her presence. Get that sickness each time I'm going without her love, I got to have it. At any given time of the night, I just jump and go get it. All it take is one call, let a dub or a dime on my line, then whenever come ringing. On the next in the bar, shorty got that comeback. Run through a whole shirt, gotta go back. I underestimated her in another yo close to the feeling that she give me. It's like a point on the century. I've been a little up over love, got my heart steady pounding. That's my overdose. Yeah, just my overdose. Just my overdose. The way she swing down, balance out how her love speed ballin'. Walk the tightest roads. Yeah, then line through love and pain like poison. Her love is poison. Yeah, off in my veins. veins, that love is poison. Yeah, off in my veins, off in my veins, off in my veins. I've been a little up off of love, got my heart steady pounding. Just my overdose, yeah. Just my overdose, just my overdose. But the way she swing down, balance out, how her loves be ballin'. Walk the tightest rollers, yeah. Feel like through love and pain, like poison in my veins. I've been a little up off of love, got my heart steady pounding. Yeah. Just my overdose. Yeah. First time that I inhale a sweet smell. First line to the nostril. From the very first time, felt her backside package wise. Know that she gotta be a dub more up and down. And I can never go half. No, I must indulge in whole. Talking balls, quarters, and zones. Talking bricks to a whole key. And I can never put a price tag on dreams. But a dreamscape, we escape. Leaving ungrateful, cruel world, we inhabitate. I'm addicted to the pain, so we gravitate. Pull each other back and forth. And I know it's detrimental to my health, but I really, 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 really want more. Being anxious, my back, got my skin sore. Being hustling on the block, got my feet sore. But I really, 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 I've been a little up on the love, got my heart steady pounding. Just my overdose, yeah. Just my overdose, just my overdose. But the way she swing down, balance out how her loves be ballin'. Yeah, love and pain, our love is poison. Yeah, off in my veins, off in my veins, off in my veins. That love is poison. Yeah, off in my veins, off in my veins, off in my veins. I've been a little up of a love, got my heart steady pounding. Just my overdose, yeah. Just my overdose, just my overdose. But the way swing down, balance out, how I love be ballin'. Walk the tightest rollers, yeah. Then line through love and pain, like poison in my veins.
Woo, thank y'all for bearing with me through that one song right there. Let's keep it going on, DJ. I appreciate y'all dealing with me. Toothache is killing me. Whew. Yeah.
Every day I wake up with this weed and bang my music. Living out my dreams, it's like I'm starring in a movie. Plus that bezel on my wrist is presidential, I salute me. G19 the Springs where we get rocky, watch your movements. Be the heartbeat of the country with no pulse, you won't be moving. Obliterate your enemies completely, thought you knew that. Off your power 48, you want the stones, no tomb included. SFM the gang and I'm the leader of that movement, thought you knew that. Every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. See, every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. Every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. See, every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. Do what I will, while my others do what they can. Special Rolling Stone edition, the cover is in my plan. Killing tracks like Jack the Ripper, Ted Bundy or Son of Sam. Want a verse, you pay the ticket, that's money up in advance. Suicidal, pack a shot, he was stepping into the booth. Kamikaze, you the target, I'm running right into you. Know the greatest like my pocket, been Biggie, been done to prove us. I'm contagious like I'm COVID or SARS or swine flu. Thought you knew. Every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. See, every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. Every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. See, every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. Every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. See, every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. Every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain. See, every day I think my team move like Nirvana. I be Kurt Cobain.
Okay, y'all. I appreciate the support. I very much so enjoy the support. I got one more for y'all. Yeah, go ahead and pass the mic along. We're going to keep it rolling. I got my lovely teammate Kelly with me here. She's going to help me out on this one right here.
First met you in September, I thought you were pretty cool, but I never knew you were so clever. I'll admit that you're still stuck in my head. Convince me that you were like the rest. I gave you my best and loved you at your worst. Full of regret, now I'm so insecure. Even your mama told me that I should get out while I can. She said a pretty girl like me deserves a way better man. Look what you've done to me. Used to be so happy, now I'm always down. I gave you more love than I gave myself, and I almost lost my crown. My chest is black and blue. I got your fingerprints tattooed all over my heart. Yeah, you ripped it apart. Thought I had nothing left to lose. There's no way we'll ever be the same. You tell me to kick rocks and that I am too toxic. It's always my fault, boy, I think that you've lost it. Eventually you come begging for me, down on both knees like you didn't just hurt me. Darling, I promise this time I'm being honest. So tell me and said this won't happen again. Even your mama told me that I should get out while I can. She said a pretty girl like me deserves a way better man. Look what you've done to me. Used to be so happy, now I'm always down. I gave you more love than I gave myself, and I almost lost my crown.
These games getting older. I can't believe this little girl ready full of me, constantly pulling on a man heartstrings, loving everybody but me. But like a sucker nigga, I stay way too much pride to say he got played. Baby, back then this would have lasted another couple years, not today. I'll admit, shorty got game, rebuttal every single thing I say. Accusations of me creeping while you the one cheating, got me looking damn fool. All up in church, sitting next to family members. When the fuck will I really learn not to trust you? And I'm finally being honest with myself. For my girl, I can do better. I make you look next level. That's real now that I'm finally being honest with myself. I'm a king, I don't need a peasant. Should be happy in my presence. That's real.
Even your mama told me that I should get out while I can. She said a pretty girl like me deserves a way better man. Look what you've done to me. Used to be so happy, now I'm always down. I gave you more love than I gave myself, and I almost lost my crown. There's no way, there's no way. 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 It's impossible whenever I first met you in September. I thought you were pretty cool, but I never knew you were so clever.
Thank y'all for the time, man. That's my teammate Kelly Rue. I'm Nina 9. We appreciate y'all for having us out.
Mama told her, get all you can. A pretty girl like you deserves a way better man. Yes, I could get with it all day. All right, you guys, I'm going to turn the remainder of the ceremony over to Dr. Nathaniel Granger, who's going to do a poem and bring up our keynote speaker, and then we'll have the closing with Mother, Mrs. Granger, in the back. Y'all okay with that? Y'all got 15 more minutes or so? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Can we give all the participants a great big round of applause? know about you, but I have been inspired. I have been inspired particularly to the extent of adhering to the theme of Black resistance. We've got to resist. We've got to resist discrimination. We have to resist Islamophobia. We have to resist all of these things that comes against us as a people. We have to resist. And so I refuse. It's the poem that's in that's a shame. One of my books. I'm sorry, y'all.
It be like that.
It be like that. I refuse to allow your issues to become my issues. I refuse to allow your bitterness to make me bitter. The cold stare, that lofty glare, that look that tell me how much you care, less about my kind, less about my mind, or what I think and what you find if you would let me be. Free me to be me. Allow yourself to give a damn. I refuse to allow your degrading thoughts make me degrade. I refuse to allow your denigrating messages to make me afraid. Grinding bone, I'm left alone. That Grinch-like smile, I don't belong. To your bougie clique, my skin depict something of a nothing that makes you sick, and you don't know why, but refuse to try to allow yourself to give a damn. I refuse to allow your darkness to smother my light. I refuse to allow your ugly to extinguish my bright. Isms and schisms is what keeps us from giving to humanity's sake. Is this really living, or a way of survival that we should be rivals on the easy road toward destruction? Damn, I refuse. And at this time, it affords me great pleasure to not refuse to introduce the keynote speaker of the evening, Adeola Quintero. Let's receive her.
Okay. Thank you all for hanging in there. It's the end of the night, and we've seen some amazing. I wish I could sing. I wish I could rap. I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm just so honored to wrap up this evening with you all and hopefully leave you with a message that is not only going to resonate with you, but allow you to take action in your own lives as you walk away from here today. So I want to start by asking you to close your eyes with me just for a moment. And as you close your eyes, I want you to imagine what a more rested world would look like. How would people treat each other? What would we have access to? Imagine a world without oppression. Take some more time here. Visualize softness. Breathe deep. Envision a world centered in justice. Stay here. I want you to open your eyes when you're ready. Some of what I'm going to share today comes from the founder of the NAP Ministry, if you've heard of the NAP Ministry, founder Tricia Hershey, and she really proposes that rest is what's going to get us to where we need to be and help us become the most of who we're supposed to be as a Black community.
So today I actually want to talk about why rest is crucial to Black resistance. You might be thinking rest, resistance, those kind of seem opposite, but I'm going to connect it all for you today. So I want to start with my story. I grew up watching my Nigerian immigrant parents work multiple jobs just to put food on the table and a roof over our heads, and it still wasn't enough. I heard over and over and over, work hard, you can achieve anything. My dad would say, you must be at the top of your class. Messages like you have to either become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. I became a therapist. And if I got a 90 on my test, the response wouldn't be, great job, you did so good. It would be, what happened with that one question you got wrong? It seems harsh. And it's also a way to survive our capitalistic, westernized society that values individualism and success more than anything in the world. So it wasn't just a message that my parents wanted to bestow upon me to be great. It was actually an internalized message that in order to be safe, you must also be great. So I'm curious if some of you have ever heard those messages growing up. No matter how hard you worked or what you did, you could still do more. It has to be better. You have to go further. You have to go faster than everyone around you. So I never heard any messages of rest. In fact, when I would sit down for just a moment, sit my tush on the couch, my dad would be like, okay, chores, come on. You need to get up. You need to be doing something. We don't have time for play. I didn't hear messages of ease. I didn't hear messages of acceptance. I heard what many of you probably hear on a daily basis, which is, as a Black man or woman, you must work 10 times harder than your white peers to achieve the same goals. And in this, I found a culture so deeply rooted in exhaustion, burnout, and anxiety that I didn't have any time for anything else like community, resistance, or even rest. I found myself fighting upstream battles as the only person of color in my workspace, in grad school, everywhere I went. I heard over and over how many societal, relational, and mental health issues were also systemic issues. And yet the systems that created the foundations of what we have access to now were created on the bodies of Black and brown women, men, and children. So one of the main issues that I found within the resistance movement is that we continue to have the same conversations over and over again. Year after year, we're reliving the trauma of the disregard that our society has for Black and brown bodies. It is unfortunate that year after year, we're adding more names of Black men, women, and children to a list already too long. We are living in continual grief, and that in itself is exhausting. When we look at the history of where these systems came to be, we see a history of white supremacy and capitalism. We see a history of the message being that you're not valued unless you produce via your labor. Rest got you killed. Taking a break got you killed. If you stopped, you were harmed. And it's still happening today. Dr. Joy DeGroy, author of the Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome book and world-renowned researcher and educator, defines post-traumatic slave syndrome, PTSS, as a condition that exists when a population has experienced multi-generational trauma resulting from centuries of slavery and continues to experience oppression and institutionalized racism today. Now, I want you to think about the phrases you might hear in your own family or what you heard growing up about your labor or your work ethic being the most important thing. Probably heard things like, don't be lazy, the early bird gets the worm, you have to work hard in order to be successful, no one else is gonna do it for you, wake up and grind, that's like the latest one, right? So we do these things and we search for a feeling of worthiness and of value. That's right. And that's why we're doing these things. I want to tell you right now that you are enough right now. You're worthy right now. And exhaustion is not our birthright. So, what is the solution then? How can we access rest and joy to find true liberation? And how can we use rest and joy to resist against these systems that want to keep us going? When we think about rest, rest is actually a resistance against the violence and trauma of grind culture. Rest is a form of activism and an invitation to slow down and to care in a society that underappreciates your energy. Think about all the times you've probably showed up to work early, stayed late, done more than you're supposed to do. I've been in that boat, right? And then you're like, okay, are they gonna say, great job? Or are they gonna notice what I did, that little extra? And it doesn't come, and your heart shatters. The trauma response is to keep going and to never stop. Grinding keeps us in a cycle of trauma. And rest disturbs and disrupts this cycle. Rest is self-care, and rest is beneficial to our mental health. And if we as a community are going to continue to flourish, we've got to take a break. Wow. Rest looks like slowing down, and joy is how we connect and resist against the violent and exhausting wheel of oppression that wants to keep us distracted, diminished, and separated. Audre Lorde said, without community, there is no liberation. Joy is found in community. Think about the coming together of individuals to lay down our burdens, to celebrate, and to honor one another. Where does this happen? It happened tonight. Our community is so creative. The fact that we're gathered here together to celebrate and uplift one another is resistance and also rest. And I want to shout out, I like calling people my aunties, uncles, that's an African thing, right? So auntie back there who's just been shouting out everybody all night, you know who you are back there. She's like, come on now, go ahead, right? She's just uplifting every single performance, every single person who has stepped up here, right? We're honoring one another. And so I just want to honor you, so thank you so much, auntie. We're taking time to slow down from the outside world to connect with ourselves and each other. And this is not just a recent thing that we're doing, right? This is from the history of enslaved men and women that would actually sing songs and hymns while working to find strength and community with each other. So how do we use rest to resist modern day grind culture? As a therapist, I focus a lot about the inner work and mindset and all of these things. And so I want to invite you to release some harmful messages you might have heard or hear on a daily basis. When we think about what grind culture and burnout tells us, it says, I have to work harder than everyone else around me in order to find freedom and to be valued. And the honest truth is, you deserve to have ease in your life. Liberation is not something that has to be earned. It's a natural part of life. And if you're not experiencing it, it's time. The superhero complex, which many of you might hear, is when we think we got to do everything and be everything for everybody. And I know for Black women, this falls on our shoulders a lot, right? We're like, okay, I'm a mom now, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to. And my husband's like, okay, I can help. Let me help. And I'm like, okay, but he's like, and I'm like, okay, right? It's hard. We want to be everything for everyone. And so what that tells us is that we have to be supermen and women. We have to be excellent at everything in order to be somebody. We can't mess up, because if we mess up, then we're letting everybody down. The honest truth is that we are not supermen and superwomen, and nobody is. However, we can tap into the power of our community to push past barriers to find true strength. And another mindset, final mindset I'll share with you is the me instead of we mentality. If you guys have heard of the phrase crabs in a barrel, right? Where, when one person's rising, it's like, nope, nope. We gotta let that go. We gotta instead be pushing each other up, uplifting each other. That's why I said, hey, auntie back there, right? We gotta be shouting each other down. We gotta be saying, oh my goodness, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're spectacular. That mentality says, I can't ask for help, or I'm gonna appear weak and incapable. And if I'm weak and incapable, no one's gonna wanna be around me. And the honest truth is that we are not meant to do life alone.
That's right.
There is strength and power and creativity. Think about all the amazing performances. And something I love about the Black community is that we're so melodic with everything that we do, right? With our poetry, with spoken word, with rap, with even just regular talk. We can't talk normally. It's gotta have a little, a little something, a little flavor to it.
You can't help it.
We can't, it just comes out of us. And so, because it comes out of us, it's something that we share as a community. So a few places to begin as I come towards the end. These are some suggestions from the Nap Ministry, which, by the way, is not all about naps. There's different ways to find rest, which I'm going to share with you today. One of them, which might be difficult because we love social media, right, is to detox from social media weekly, monthly, or more. Take a break. Even put your phone in another room, right? Because we hear that ding, ping, ping. Wait a minute. Who liked my thing? Who did that? Okay. Then we're back in the phone, right? Work on healing your own individual trauma and begin setting healthy boundaries. Slow down. This is the one I have to tell myself when I find myself speeding up. Think about how many times you're moving, working, and operating at a faster pace. That is not normal. That is grind culture. Repeat to yourself, I am enough now, every day until you believe it. Some daily practices of rest can look like closing your eyes for 10 minutes, taking a longer shower in silence, which I really enjoy when my baby's not screaming. I'm like, please. Taking regular breaks from social media, not immediately responding to texts and emails, deep listening to a full music album. I really love that one. Praying, a 20-minute nap, daydreaming by staring out the window, taking a meditative walk in nature, practicing deep belly breathing. Every time I find myself wanting to rush or feeling like I should be doing more, I look at my 4-month-old baby girl, and she reminds me that no matter what's gonna happen, she's gonna take a nap. It doesn't matter what my schedule is, it doesn't matter what I have planned for the day. She's like, no, it's my time to sleep, and you're gonna help me sleep right now.
That's right.
And I look at her, I'm like, wow, she really advocates for what she wants, and I should be like that more too. Why am I not taking a break? Why am I not telling people around me, all right, don't disturb me, please, I'm resting. And so there's something to be said about the connection and intimacy that rest provides. We're at our best selves when we're rested. It's easier to connect when we come from a rested place and not a frantic place. So in closing, I want to invite you to close your eyes one more time. And again, I want you to imagine what a more rested world would look like. How would people treat each other? What would we have access to? Imagine a world without oppression. Take more time here. Visualize softness. Breathe deep. Envision a world centered in justice. Stay here. Thank you.
Wow, what a beautiful way to end the night. A beautiful, wow, the cherry on the cake. Wow. Let's give Adeola Quintero another round of applause. This has been an amazing night. I've truly enjoyed myself. Nothing makes me happier than seeing people come together. It's something about when people are so in discord or some craziness, I'm so allergic to it. I'm like, oh no, no. And so thank you again for an amazing keynote. All right, all right. At this time, I'm going to ask if my significant other, the wind beneath my wings, if Lady Granger would come up, please. With final remarks and the benediction. Y'all excuse us for 1 minute.
broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter. You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter. But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move